Hey. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Oh, man, this is the last day of November. Ooh, yes, indeed. Well, hope you're having a fantastic day and end this month on fire. Whatever you got going on, that you knock it out of the park today, right? So, welcome everyone to Conversations with Geoff. And man, our subject today, so excited about. Oh, man, it's about my life. And sorry if my voice sounds a little funny. I still have a cold. I'm congested, but I'm going to show up here and do my best. All right. So anyhow, and Conversations with Geoff really is about that stinkin thinking and understanding the impact that it has on our lives and how we as human beings all have the same ability. The same ability to change our lives by the way we change our thinking, right? But now we want to talk a little bit more about some real deep stuff, right? That whole thing around subject around rejection, that subject around failure, and what our relationship looks like. How are we responding to that? How do we live with those conditions? Because look, in our community, baby, we talk about the power of comeback, man, and the message is in our mess. Right? We're all going to face some comebacks. We're all going to have some things we got to hit the reset button on. I always say it all the time. I'm going to say it so I can get to my stuff. Either going through something right now, getting started in something, or you're coming out the other end looking backward saying, phew, for just a moment, taking a pause, right? So anyway, I'm going to let you, let me know where you're coming from, drop some stuff in the chat, right? And let's get to why we're here today, man. I really want to say, everybody, thank you for showing up. And hey, Steph, how you doing? So anyway, let's get to what we're here for, right? I'm going to ask for some participation. So when you get this replay, I want you to make sure you do that anyway. And if you're here today and you join us, do the same thing. But I want to tell you, let's stop talking ourselves out of our own truth, right? Oh, I know I have a purpose, but I'm not sure what it is. Or yada, yada, yada. We know what it is, but what is it that's keeping us from doing that? And learn how, put it in the chat, learn how to sit still, quiet that chatter so you can hear your message. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason for being here, right? And you know what? All right, look, I don't know about you. I do know about you because it happens to me as well. Rejection, it's a monster. And it can either continue to keep a thumb on you, or it can be the fuel to you getting to your purpose. Rejection no longer has to be that monster, right? Look, and fear no longer has to be something that holds you back as well. I mean, why are we talking about this? Because I'm going to tell you something. That was my problem early on before I started to do some of the things I'm going to talk about today, right? Before I understood the power in having relationships, different relationships with rejection, different relationships with fear, and my thoughts about that. And most importantly, check this out. Listen to me when I say this. Not attaching the pain of rejection, not attaching the pain of past failures or recent failures, or, both of those together, not making that piece part of the puzzle, at least controlling part of the puzzle, learning how to reverse those thoughts in that process to be fueled and power. Man, that's the gift. I'm telling you, you can be as motivated as you want to. You can manifest all day long if you want to, right? And I've done both of those. You can pray if that's what you do. I do that as well, or meditate. But until you get to what I'm talking about today, until you understand, like I had to, that, man, look, if I don't get, a different relationship with rejection, I'm no longer going to be able to step out into my business. I'm no longer going to try new things. I'm just going to continue to be in this little box, right? I'm like most of us in this box. We're safe and secure, right? And I'm going to talk about it on and off. But as human beings, we're all wired for that. Be careful. Don't go too fast. Do you have the education for this you're thinking about doing, or how do you think you can do it? You've never done it before. You know what I'm talking about. So in addition to, I always like to just go into this quick session about cavemen. You guys, I talk about it all the time, right? Me and my buddy, we're two cavemen. We're sitting out front and wherever we're living at, and this great big, what looks to be a beautiful thing we're looking at, walks up to us, and all of a sudden the guy was talking to us no longer there because he's hanging out the mouth of the dinosaur. Ha! Right? So what do you think they learned from that? Anything like that, you better run. All right. I mean, simple-minded, but it works. You get what I'm talking about, right? So anyhow, we're wired for that. We're wired for safety. And then the relationship that we have from the past around past failures, past rejections, whether it be in relationships, personal relationships, or business, or health, whatever it might be, begins to talk to us, begins to remind us, hey, you remember what you did or didn't work out well last time? You guys are knowing what I'm talking about. This is not new stuff. But where I'm coming from today, what I want you to hear me and let me know when you're in this chat is that it is no longer has to be the tool that blocks your path. It no longer has to be that tool. It can be another tool. It could be the tool that opens the key, that opens the door for you, baby. Right? Opens the door for opportunity. So let me get to my notes here, man. I'm already kind of on track. But I want you to hear what I said at the beginning. The relationship that you have, only you know this, the relationships that you have with rejection, and fear, and past mistakes is something that's either fueling your progress or holding you back. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, right? So talked about those things. So now, but let me tell you something. I talked about being wired for protection. I talked about that whole thing around, taking out, being careful and all the other things. But here's the danger in that, right? Say you've done some things and you failed and you're kind of scared to do something else, and it's that past experience that's still lurking in your brain, that's still chatting to you, and an opportunity comes up and you pass on it again and you pass on it again. Sooner or later, you're going to begin to identify yourself as a failure, right? Do I have to say that again? That self-loathing begins to creep in, right? And so you see yourself, the self-doubt steps in, and then you attach yourself to that, and you believe that you are no longer worthy of what it is that you are worthy of, that you are capable of, that you can get done in your life, man. Huh? Ooh, listen to me. I mean, this stuff is, I'm talking to Geoff too, right? I mean, this is what I went through when I was doing what I was going through as myself. So these things are true. In life, we become what we attach ourselves to. So what do you have attached to your subconscious and your conscious mind, really? When you're all by yourself and you're there with yourself, who are you? Who are you identifying with? And is it those past rejections, those past failures that are still showing up? And if they are, that's good. You should be excited about that, because, man, I'm going to tell you something. In all my life, when I started working on this, all these things started flashing back of all the different things that went wrong in my life. Most recently, I talk about the real estate piece, and and people were like, hey, they're not happy, and I'm doing my best to satisfy them, and talking about me sometimes, and that hurts, but I know in my heart that I'm going to make it right. I mean, all that stuff, and then that just opens the door for all that past chatter that I'm telling you about. But what I've learned over the last 30 years from this process is that, man, I know my integrity is always been to serve others. I know that I've never tried to mislead anyone. I know that things happen in my life, and I do my best to overcome that. And that's what I'm doing today, right? And we'll continue to do that, right? And you too can do the same thing, man. Excuse me. So I want to just talk to you just for another few minutes around at 30,000 feet up, some things that you can use today, right? You can use today, man, that work for me and work for hundreds of other people that I've shared them with, right? And we talk a little bit about them. Some of this stuff really takes some work. Some of this stuff really is going to require you to get uncomfortable for a little while. And that's okay, because if you do, we can help you through that process as well. Get uncomfortable so you can get free from this crap, right? So the first one, and I talk about it a lot, is that becoming aware of, I want to ask a question. I'm going to do this really quickly, so help me out. I want to ask you a question, and then when you think about it, when you hear this, drop it in the chat. Let me know what comes to mind. When you imagine yourself being rejected or failure, what comes to mind? What do you see first? Right? Not worthy, not good enough. What is that thing? Put it in the chat for yourself, right? Write that down, put that in your chat, right? Because I'm going to tell you something. Whatever came to your mind first is that major block that's holding you back right there in that space, right? So whatever it is that popped in your brain, please be honest with yourself. It doesn't, I'd like to help you, but be honest with yourself about what is that came to mind. I hear so many different things when I ask people that question. So what is it for you? Uncover that, reveal what that thing is, get it out there so it no longer keeps you hostage. And number two, check this out, right? Number two, we talk about it a lot. Talk about replacing it, but I want you to really kind of look at, if it is, I don't feel like I'm worthy. Sad, yes, if you're sad all the time. Hey, look, if you're sad, what is it that you can replace? I mean, I would tell you, when I started my first business, I didn't really think I could be a CEO, but I believed in it enough to start it, right? And man, I struggled through a lot of different things, man. And I'm telling you, I realized finally that, okay, let me do some research. And I looked at other people that were doing some things, fantastic things. And man, they went through a whole lot more trouble than I was going through. It's part of the process, Geoff. Here's what they did, right? So this is what I'm sharing with you, man. See, if you're feeling sad, then I understand that if the sadness feeling comes to me, there's something great that's behind that. I need to find out what that is. I have the courage and ability to overcome whatever it brings me sadness, because I know I am worthy and I am meant for more, right? I mean, anyway, guys, I'm telling you, listen to what I'm talking about, man. So be aware of it, identify it, reveal what it is. Number two, redefine it. Let's replace it. Recreate something inspiring, recreate something empowering, recreate something that will ignite a fire in you, that you will step out of that and step into your greatness with that, right? All right, so number three, really it's about number one, whatever that is for you, revisiting that and really spending some time to really get all that garbage out. Like I had to get that dressed up garbage can, get all that stuff out of me, man, from years and years of just stuffing things in there, working on all that stuff. Get it out, right? And I'm not just saying get it out. We'll help you get it out. But really, once you get that piece out, it doesn't show. It's going to come up, but you'll have some ammunition for it, right? You'll be aware. You know it's coming. You'll be dodging it, right? You know what I mean, right? And so, and lastly, find some joy in this process. Revel in the fact that now you understand the relationship that you have with rejection, the relationship that you have with failure, and all that stuff no longer has to be the thing that holds me back, grabs you by the shirt and pulls you back. It is the fuel that moves you forward, because you begin to do things like this. You'll be able to practice what I'm talking about. You'll have some success in that. And the community that we're going to put together for you will allow you to come in there and learn from others, share your stories, gain some experience, gain some genius from the collective volume of everybody, and make a difference that you are meant to do. I'm going to share this. I'm going to make sure I read it right. Everything in life, we attach a meaning to it. Hey, everything about life, we attach a meaning to it, right? Good or bad. Change your relationship with failure and rejection and begin to see it as empowering, encouraging, enlightening, something that is necessary. You're not going to get to step 2 without getting past this. It's the fuel that's going to get you moving. Stops the stinkin thinking. Get you beyond worrying about, you're looking forward to the next setback. You're getting ready for the next comeback, man. Because you know the message, the next level of message, the next level of experience, the next level of opportunity, the next you is beyond this struggle. So I encourage you to hit me up in the chat and let's have some more conversation around this. I mean, this is just a highlight of what it is. I mean, it's really helped me in so many different ways. And I promise I'm only going to be 15 minutes on these sessions. And I have 20 seconds left. So I'll tell you this. No longer let the stinking thinking hold you back. Change the relationships with rejection. Change the relationships with fear. Learn to love those. Let the energy be the reason why you get to your next level. Hey, we'll see you on the next Conversations with Geoff. Pick me up, man. My chat's in there. Bye-bye.